Welcome back again today, friends. We are doing even more in what I like to call the grocery store in my basement, particularly with organizing these freezers and refrigerators a little deeper. Thank you to Kiwico for sponsoring today's video. Click the first link in the description below to take 50% off your first month of Kiwico. Go to kiwico.com/Jamerrill and use code Jamerrill. In a recent video that I did for you all in the last 2 months or so, I shared a full tour of my basement grocery store freezers, how they're organized, and in the comments of that video and also by email and direct messages, several of you have given me additional ideas, and we're going to do several of those today, such as we are going to label each of these freezers and refrigerators, and I have whiteboards we're going to put on them, and I'm getting into a lot more of your questions. And don't even ask me, I don't know how it happened. All the little door holder thingies were off this freezer. Why? I don't know. I'm just gonna get them back on. We also, it's like, you know, one of the household mysteries. Who knows? Maybe it seemed like a good idea at the time. We're also going to clean all the little gaskets on my freezers. My freezers and refrigerators were on my front porch like a good hillbilly for 9 to 10 months or so, or maybe it was a full year during our big kitchen renovation project, because different thoughts we've worked through, different visions here. At first I thought my kitchen was going to be about 3/4 of its size. If you go back and watch my beginning kitchen build videos, I thought the kitchen would be 1/2 to 3/4 of the size actually, and that the other quarter or so would be a long rectangle laundry room plus freezer room upstairs. Now we are in the depths of my basement for these. This is much better than I had thought, although it does leave the quandary on how things will exactly work out and what we'll be doing in reference to remodeling our basement, but we're not there yet. We're focusing on the upstairs remodel. This is not a remodeling video. So I'll leave you be about all the remodeling plans and spinning at this time, but I am going to take, this is just my vinegar spray. It can be 1 part vinegar, 3 parts water. I'm just going to give everything a big spray. I'm going to wipe it down with paper towels. That's going to be amazing and help a lot. I like to do this just, if I wasn't filming, how would I clean this? Well, this is exactly how I would clean this. So this is what you get. So we're gonna start off with a little cleaning action. I'm gonna show you what's in every freezer and update you with how things have been progressing too here in a minute. So I'll give you friends an updated tour on how things are looking in the freezers currently. So this freezer is full of our projects yet to come. Remember I showed you those tomatoes we had found after the big tomato canning project, and a bunch of grapes that I froze last fall. So we'll get to it in the coming weeks. This will be coming up pretty soon here. And then over here, this has been my freezer meal freezer, and you will see since the last time I showed you over here, we made huge progress here. These are some new salmon cakes I recently did in just some quick quick big batch cooking. We still have a good selection of slow cooker freezer meals. Now some of these were up on the other shelf with the 9x13 meals, and I've been able to bring them down here. We're still working through those. And again, I don't tell life when I'm having freezer meals. Life tells me. Also, breakfast freezer meal wise, now the Eggo waffles, thank you Costco. Those are just filling in for me. So out of my big batch freezer cooking that I did, thinking early March, late February, when was that? Okay, this is what's left. We have 3 bakes. We have 2 packs of breakfast squares, and then we have these breakfast cookies that my kids were just asking me about today. So I'm going to go ahead. We will set these out. These will be for Saturday morning and probably some Saturday snacks. We'll see how far those go. The Eggo waffles are filling a spot until I can get to do more freezer meal waffles and pancakes coming up. And then we have 4. I did some batch cooking also, getting the bread machines going and getting a bunch of pizza dough ready for the freezer. And so that is 4 pizzas that are left there. And then also over here with all of these little omelet meals I made, we had these drawers full, so this is what is left of those. So definitely some more freezer cooking coming up. We do have our first family vacation in well over a year coming up in the coming months, and I do plan, at least this is what I will tell life, I do plan to use some of these already done slow cooker freezer meals during that time as well. And this freezer here, we've had some things change out, some things have stayed the same. We've worked through some different bags of fruit. We did a bunch of canning since my last video, got a lot of the boxes of fruit out of here. I bought some more cauli rice, but I do have more cauli rice down there. Brussels sprouts have been eaten, little bags, hold on here, Brussels sprouts have been eaten. I've used some spinach recently. Some bags of bananas have gone towards smoothies. This is our work in progress fruit and veggie freezer. And then, now in my last video, this refrigerator was empty. It really doesn't sit here and always be empty, but then again, this is what you're seeing, so maybe that's true, haha. But when I do big grocery hauls and have big cooking projects, like I have a big freezer cooking day coming up tomorrow, and so this is helpful for holding those big pots or big pans or bowls while I'm spinning different meals. And sometimes I will prep things and they'll need to sit overnight and I'll get back to it the next day. Okay, get my phone. And then up here, so this has been a small bread freezer for us. We've worked through a lot of the items that are over there. Also used a thing of these hamburger buns and hot dog buns recently. We're totally out of the Ezekiel bread English muffins, which we use a lot of those. So working through it, getting things done. Over here, this is the dedicated beef freezer. We are going to label it as such today. I also have ground beef that I was going to do some big batch meatloaf with, but instead I think I'm going to do some big batch sloppy joes and get those ready for us. And then here, I was going to label this one as our pork and chicken freezer. There's other items in here too, Sharp Shopper deals and such. Have some butter in there also, but we canned so much of this pork. We ended up doing about 3 shelves full that were in here, so it's making great progress. I still am going to label this chicken/pork freezer because these items we will continue to work through, and for the most part it's chicken and pork that end up in here. And then over here, my kids will tell you what we need to stock up on, right? This was full of popsicles. We've had a lot of 70, even 85-degree days here in Virginia already. It's just a fall summer. We've got 60s coming up this next week. That's your weather report. But they have worked through all of these popsicles, and we definitely need to get this stocked back up. And then in here, we still have those oranges. We have some radishes and some veggies. I have 2 hams. I have some plans for those also. They're not dated until June, so if I don't get to them, they will go in the freezer. Also, I like to do roasted Brussels sprouts and different recipes with lettuce, but you see we have some room in here, which is really nice because when I get going with big projects, I need some room. And then in here, we keep a lot of milk, and I have more butter in here. So I'm going to label this fridge as dairy. When I get big bulk yogurt deals and such, those also end up in here. And in this refrigerator, a lot of times whenever I stock up on lunch meat and different deli cheeses, those also end up in here. Honestly, I need to do some more shopping, but that's okay because we're eating these things down now. And then up here, this freezer is honestly going to wait a little bit because I've got yeast in here. I've still got that chicken lasagna, various things in this freezer that I'm probably not getting to anytime soon, and that's okay. That's what freezers are for anyway, but most of these things in my freezers I have planned. So I have a label maker here. Travis was testing this out for me. He did a howdy label. Okay, so let's just type whoop 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 whoop. This will be a how to use the label maker tutorial for myself. So it's okay, we're gonna get it. Nice. Okay, now caps. I want it to be caps. I'm just going to write freezer, meals, print. Nice. Good job, little label maker. Oh, and I had some items from a recent Sharp Shopper haul. I got put in the refrigerator. That's okay. So these whiteboards I picked up at Walmart, and they have a little adhesive on the back for magnets. And so I thought on several of these freezers I could have a whiteboard. I could use this to list items that I want to get to soon, things I don't want to forget, items I need to pick up at the store. Give me a whiteboard, I will use it. And they each came with a little magnet too. So that is good. Now I'm going to, okay, tape this side, very nice. Okay. Just have a look here. Okay, 4 corners. We can do it. Okay, just verifying. Verifying. Because there's mysteries I don't understand, just like why we're all for shelving doors out of my freezer. Who could know it? We do know who does know, right? No one did it, not me. I don't know. The person in the house named that, right? Not me. Not me is the name. Okay. And just because we have it and we can, I'm going to print out another label so that we're doubly clear on what that freezer is. Again, won't be perfect, but this was a great idea that several viewers gave me to use the label maker for each refrigerator, and several viewers told me to it would be a great idea to put whiteboards on my freezers and refrigerators. Now I only got 4 because this is all Walmart had. Maybe we will end up with 1 on every freezer, and that would be great. Every freezer and every refrigerator. But there we go. Nice. Nice little upgrade. I'm also going to take you back here shortly once we're done with this. I've got some questions about my canning storage pantry that I'm also going to chat with you about in this video. Fruit and veggie freezer. And that label. Thanks again to Kiwico for sponsoring today's video. Kiwico inspires kids to see themselves as makers. And I don't know about you, but I am raising a whole household of makers and big thinkers here. My 5-year-old got a kit where he got to make this fantastic mechanical sweeper. The end result is it was able to sweep up a whole handful of soft pom-poms. But at 5 years old, he just worked and worked that project to pieces. He was able to work with all of the components and the tools, and he was so proud of himself once his project was completed. And he painted the little whales that went on the side. It kept him engaged and busy for a good hour and a half, and I will say that's a homeschool mama win with a 5-year-old. Be sure to click the first link in the description below to get your first month of Kiwico for 50% off. Go to kiwico.com/Jamerrill and use code Jamerrill. So you will see that for our family, now I'm a mom of 9, 2 are adults, but let me tell you, they would have absolutely loved these kits. We got 2 of the Kiwi crates for our 5 and 8-year-olds. One of them got this fantastic anatomy crate where he was able to sew a brain, a heart, and a stomach. It's not every day that you get to say that. He also could add fun googly eyes to them. He added stuffing. They had a big anatomy poster that once he was done sewing them, he was able to lay those pieces out on. And later, he was able to work on doing a homemade x-ray with the bone stickers and other projects that was also included in his kit. So this was a great homeschool morning for us. We absolutely love every minute of working with our Kiwico crates. My kids cannot wait to get another box next month. You can get these wonderful Kiwico crates for your kids by clicking the first link in the description below. Go to kiwico.com/Jamerrill, use the code Jamerrill, and you will get 50% off your first crate. We're getting our systems down. Definitely going to use one of these on my project freezer. I think that would be helpful. And then I could write on there what projects I'm currently doing. Even though I know lists are how I live. Now I keep things straight. So I appreciate all the lists. I am a paper planner kind of girl. I keep digital notes on my phone also, but paper planning is where it's at for me. And I don't spend, and I don't do the stickers and really get into the planning in depth like that, like the fun decorating side that some planner girls get into. I can use a notebook if that's all I had to work with, just fine. But the decorating side of planning is a lot of fun too. Okay, so this is going to just say, I think we got another fruit and veggie sticker coming. Oh well, okay. And now I know how to select for 2 copies at one time. I have another label maker and we couldn't find it. Couldn't find it this go round. Oh, that won't cut that. Do I have scissors down here? I don't think I do. That would be a drawback unless this is perforated. Oh, I do have scissors, yay. You might have seen the video or you might not. It's my first year working on getting some seeds started with grow lights. I did not have my grow lights set up as early as I could have gotten seeds started, but we are definitely doing tomatoes this year, and hopefully that goes pretty well. I would like that. Project freezer. And next year I'll have my grow lights and my indoor growing set up so that I can start earlier. I can start about middle of February, early March ideally in Virginia, and that just really helps get a jump start on the grow season. Project freezer, yay. Now we'll do these other ones. Okay, last one. Not too sure where this should go. I'm kind of thinking this should just be on the refrigerator. if I have any refrigerator notes to make. And eventually just have whiteboards everywhere. Let's just have this be a general board. I think I will probably find surprise little notes on these too. And I really would like to switch these out with wet erase markers. Those are something new in my life in the past year or so I've started using, and they do give my whiteboard writing a little bit longer life. Okay, so this one says don't forget, and we will just put it on this refrigerator. There'll be things we need to write down on that one for sure. And then, and now coming up on, as I said, our first family vacation in over a year. Looking in these freezers, I see many things that I believe we are going to take, such as I will take some of those freezer meals for some nights, such as I will take some of those slow cooker freezer meals to get through some nights. I think I will also take one of these hams to do, because that's good for dinner and lunch the next day. I also saw we have some hot dogs and some different sausages in there. So that would be good. So I'm pretty much planning my vacation dinners off of what's already in my freezers. Okay, we'll get these on. Alrighty, so I'm going to put this little label here as far as being a bread freezer. It'll I love New York and I love bread freezer. Not exactly what I was planning there, but okay. And then my other label maker had white labels. That's what I did in my pantry room. Pork and poultry freezer. So here's our project freezer and project whiteboard. Freezer meal freezer and whiteboard. Fruit and veggie freezer and whiteboard. And then, look closely at New York. Bread freezer. I don't think so. That's okay. That can be our fail. We got our beef freezer here, and then our pork and chicken freezer. I'm just calling this one the fruit slash veggies slash extras refrigerator. Gives us something to work with there. Just so there's no confusion, although they have been finding the ice cream and popsicles very well, we will put this down here. Very nice. And I do get lots and lots of questions about my electric bill, still to this day. And so my electric bill can range anywhere from $350 to $700 a month, depending on the time of year. Right now, we are in early spring, so my electric bill for March was $488, which again, 4,800 square feet, all these appliances. We do have a lot of LED lights. In the summer, when we're running the air conditioner, you know, full blast, it'll be closer to the $700 a month mark. This winter, we definitely had months where it was over $500. We've had a very mild winter though here in Virginia, and the main living areas in our house maintain a good constant temperature. So I know electricity prices and energy prices are a huge topic of conversation. I think one of the things that has worked very well for us is in summer 2021, we got an all new whole house HVAC system, which is our air conditioning and our main heat source. Before that, our first year here, we used the old, I don't know, it's a 60-year-old house, so was it a 40-year-old system? It was on its last leg. We got one full year out of it, but our electric bills were much higher then with that older unit, so this more efficient unit has been kinder on us. So some other questions we've been asked, and I have Travis here to help me answer. So tell the folks, how are they, because I get questions about how are these all hooked up and running?
Yeah, I ran you 2 dedicated circuits for these.
2 dedicated circuits.
2 here.
2 dedicated circuits here, and
some more over here.
and some over here. And where did we get all those dedicated circuits from?
Last summer we replaced our air conditioner with the HVAC.
Okay, so
heat
that
and air.
HVAC again working for us.
Heat
Yeah.
and air. So we demoed, every room had a baseboard heat. We demoed those. We don't need the baseboard heats anymore.
That's right. So we had original 1963 baseboard heat in every room, and all of that is out now. So yay, electric.
Yeah.
Electric options.
We're heating through the air ducts now.
Yeah, nice. So that's part of how we've been able to have all
So
these,
I had room to add more circuits in the panel.
which have worked out for us. And then did you do one for the harvest right?
There's actually 2 here, one for the harvest rate
Okay.
and one for your little table here.
Okay.
It's a
Circuits
circuit
everywhere.
too.
Okay, very good. And then another question I get a lot of is how much these freezers cost. So actually, these 2 freezers here, and I didn't go out and get all these freezers at one time, but I got one of these at our forest house maybe 2017-ish. Is that about right? Yeah, because I was pregnant with baby number 8, Benjamin. He was born in summer 2017. I was doing a lot of freezer meals getting ready for his birth, and so we bought this freezer then, and then I bought this second one 2018. And these were, in my memory, these were in the $600 range, which just seems like free in this day and age, right? 2018 to 2023, so they were about $600 each. These were in our garage at our forest house. We did not have a basement there. I don't know how we made it without a 2,200 square foot basement. See, we were ready to be grandparents. All grandparents should have, like my grandparents had a big basement, right? So
My grandparents had
your grandparents had a basement, and I bet your grandma used every inch of it, right? So we were ready for this stage of life to have a basement. So these were cheap in comparison. Now my freezers before this, I won't go through all the origin stories, okay? But before this, we don't have it anymore, but my first freezer, I forgot. I always talk about my first freezer I got for $75 from my neighbor's garage sale. But actually before that, I got one from my granddad. I had,
Oh, yeah, that
I did.
stunk.
Okay, it stunk. Okay. But it was my first full freezer. We had it on the porch at the farmhouse for a time. I don't think it lasted very long. I probably shouldn't even mention it.
Yeah.
But we went up and we got it. I
Cleaned
had
it
great
out.
plans.
It smelled terrible. We cleaned it out. And
Okay.
It didn't work very good.
Okay, so that was our first attempt at having a full freezer, a free one from my granddad. The one from my neighbor for $75, we had that. I think that one went when we moved from the farmhouse to the forest house, so I think we had it probably close to 2 years. This is like interview Travis about basement storage freezer questions. Yeah, so we had that one, but it was not a full size. So 2017, Mama graduated to one of these, 2018. And now these 2 freezers I got in anticipation of those, and you saw this in my last grocery store in my basement freezer tour video. I had these 3 smaller 7 cubic feet freezers, which we've passed on to some other single moms in our area. And then we had a big chest freezer too that we passed on in anticipation of moving things out of them. And also we had those from raising and processing our own meat in 2020 and through the years since there. So we knew we would need some more freezers. And so these freezers are here now. And since moving out of them, as we did in the last video, I've organized these freezers by topic, basically, by category. So we have a freezer meal one, we have a fruit and veggie one, a beef one, a pork and chicken one. Now, what I'm thinking right now is that by the time we get to processing our meat birds this year, I won't do so many of the whole birds. I'll have to process them down farther to the different pieces. But this pork and chicken freezer, we will have worked down more of that. And so that's where I'm thinking the chicken is going. We also have 2 Idaho pasture pigs that we're going to send for processing. They're not going to be as big as the full hog. You're making eyebrows. A couple hundred pounds, but they're not going to be that much meat though when it's all said and done. Like that full hog that we got last fall, was it last fall? Yeah, was a lot more meat than I think 2 Idaho pasture pigs. So, but it was a forest raised hog, so that is nice. So we will have this full freezer here that will hold our homegrown chicken, and our Idaho pasture pigs, and we'll just have to, we know when those times are coming, and so the goal will be to get out of this freezer. And if we have to, if we had extra items in here, just had no more room, items in here could spin to some other freezers if need be. And we were just talking about, so these two, these were a little over $900 each. They weren't more than that from my memory. Travis thinks they were in the $800 range. But I think I could be wrong. What brand are you? What brand are you? It's MIDEA. I think these might have a freezer or refrigerator setting. It says RFRZ/REF, and the light will be off for REF mode. Someone Google my freezer and let me know. I have no need. I can't picture myself using these as a refrigerator, and I could be totally wrong. I just wanted a freezer, and so we have it. Yay. And then another question that I get often is what happens in case of a power outage? Do we have a generator if that would happen? And so yes, we do have a generator. And in fact, our last big power outage at the Forest House, I remember it finally got to the 4-hour mark. You finally made the, got it all, everything hooked up. And that's about the time all the power comes back on. But if you have a power outage, and if your freezers are stocked pretty full, and if you leave your doors closed, everything in your freezer is supposed to be good for up to 48 hours. So we do have a generator that would run all of these, right? If we had a longer power outage, that is possible. We have a generator. We have what we need. Yes. Now we don't have a whole house generator, which we would love to at some point in life have a whole house generator. Right now we're trying to get a living room and maybe a dumbwaiter. Tell the folks, do you plan to do a dumbwaiter?
Full elevator.
He would like a full elevator. So we're looking at those. We have a spot where we would put it there, like all in one. Yeah. So that's our hopes and dreams renovation list. We're not there yet. But for those of you who say, you should do an elevator or you need a dumbwaiter, it's definitely on the list. We might get to that in the renovation. But of course, in the future, we would also love to have a whole house generator. And also if we had some solar options, because that's, seems like they're working a lot of that technology out.
Maybe a wind turbine.
Yeah, be a good homeschool project. Get a wind turbine going. Yeah.
Maybe a natural gas generator, or I don't know. You got to store the fuel though, so
yeah.
You got to have a big.
But see, Travis thinks through these things for us. So if we had a true 1 week power outage in the area that we live in, they have had sometimes a power outage that'll last for a full week. So if that happened though, we do have a generator that could run everything. So we'd be good as far as that goes. Some other questions I've recently received is folks want to know if my family eats all this food, if I give it all away, what do we do with it? And if you've watched my large family meals of the week videos and just other week in a life and kind of how we live and how things roll, there are definitely weeks where I might hear of 2 or 3 situations. That doesn't happen often that it's so many in 1 week, but I know in recent months I did a video where it seemed like there were 3 different needs that came up in 1 week. But you know what? I was able to pass on a couple pans or a few breakfast items. I know there was a family that had just had a baby. I was able to send them 2 dinners and some breakfast items. If there's a family with a health situation, sometimes I will make foods if there's specific dietary needs to send to families. But my family also, definitely, we roll through of at least 75% of this on our own, but it's very helpful to have meals available. At a moment's notice, I could take a breakfast out to give to a family. I could take out a breakfast and a dinner and give to the family. And that makes giving and passing on meals very easy for me because the prep work's already done. And then another question I've received a bunch is if I can fit a whole cow in a freezer. And yes, I am able to fit a whole cow in a freezer. Now we have eaten parts of this down. I've obviously done different canning with beef cuts. But if I know I'm getting a whole cow and we are to the point You have to line up deliveries, obviously, when the freezer space is available. So it probably won't be until the fall or the winter that I do another whole cow, and we will be ready for it at that time. Now I do have, I believe, I have a bag of bones over here that can go back in there. And so these can go in here too. But I have stew meat and different steaks and different pork cuts in here ready to go, different roasts and things. And I did can a good bit of ground beef, all the ground beef that I had from that cow, because if I'm going to continue to grow in my food preservation skills and work on finding what my family likes and what works well for us as far as home canning goes, I've got to use the food in order to do that, right? And now I have that ground beef on the pantry shelf that is so shelf stable. I will do things like I bought more ground beef because I have some other ground beef recipes I want to do in the coming days as well. And then another question I received recently is someone absolutely loved these shelves that I am using as my canning shelves, and she wanted to know where I got these. So there's a whole story behind these shelves. Now all of my other shelves that are here in my basement grocery store pantry, and these shelves here, you can't see them, but there's some other metal shelves here. These are all largely from Tractor Supply or Lowe's. But these shelves, okay, so follow me back to the farmhouse days. Very, very small budget. We would not even be able to do something like buy shelves if we needed them, right? So Travis was doing an electrical project at an old high school in our general area, and they had these old lockers from like the 40s or 50s that they were throwing away. They were putting in these dumpsters outside. These are those shelves that were those lockers. Every shelf had these metal baskets that slid in, and you can see there, these little holes here had the locker number or the basket number. And so there were these little, like it would say, you know, 428 and 429 all the way down. And so we got not only these shelves, but tons of these metal baskets. And the metal baskets, there's a little bracket that would stick out from the top of the shelf, and then the baskets would line up, and there was a spot where they could actually put a lock on it to have their little basket locker. So that's the history of these shelves. We had them we had two of them in our boys' room at the farmhouse, and they were toy shelves. They were the shelves in their room. And then I forget where we had the other one. We had it somewhere, or maybe we had three lined up there. And these are all secured to the wall. Travis is very good about that. Like absolutely everything ever is mounted and secured, and all of these shelves have everything is in the cinder blocks and properly crisscross applesauce exactly how it should be. And while I'm down here, I am shaking my bottles of vanilla. Those are just down here waiting for another time in life. Some folks have suggested that I put more vanilla beans in my bottles because I probably have 16 ounces of vodka and I have about 5 beans or so per bottle. So, I don't know. First time doing this, we'll figure it out. You know what things I'm good at? Sometimes I feel discouraged. Let me preface it with that. Sometimes I feel discouraged because there's so many things I don't know how to do. I don't know how to successfully make homemade vanilla. Okay, this was my first time doing it. But I felt like it was something I could handle, right? Oh, here's what I can do. I can feed a family super frugal at a grocery store. I can go into a grocery store with a bare bones budget and I can come out with food for breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks. I'm good at that. And I'm also good at doing meals for the freezer. Bare bones budget meals for the freezer, and also meals with grass-fed, homegrown ground beef, other meat cuts. So I would just encourage you to think about the things you're good at whenever you start to feel discouraged. Because sometimes I'm like, because I share a lot of my projects and such publicly, I'm like, I don't know that I know anything. Maybe I don't know how to do anything. And then I'm like, wait a minute. No, there are things I know how to do. And there are many things I'm learning how to do. And you're joining me for that learning adventure also. One of my old school movie quotes, you know, we'll get there when we get there, right? we'll get there. Definitely when we get to summer 2024, we will have a whole other year of new skills. I have canned more in the last 6 months than all the other times I had canned. And when I can now, I definitely don't know it all, but I feel a lot more confident with my canner. And so I hope that encourages you if you want to do something like can chicken, can ground beef, can beans. It's all possible. You just have to get started. So I feel like there are many skills that I am learning and I am growing in, and I feel like there are some things that I'm really confident in, and there's a lot that I'm not, and that's okay because we're learning together. And while we're in here, we'll just take a little tour around the pantry room too. I did at least 12 cans of my salmon for those salmon cakes I'd been wanting to do. And we also used up a good bit of tuna, lots of chicken, and I like to have lots of chicken. Now I did recently go to Costco and I stocked back up on our laundry pods. We have room here for more trash bags. Also up here, if you remember, maybe 2 months ago now, we stocked up on hand soap. Now this doesn't mean we only have 1 bottle left in the house, but the other bottles are upstairs in our cleaning closet and in our 2 upstairs bathrooms for refilling. But this is an area that next month, when I do my big once a month grocery shopping haul, I could get us stocked back up so we have a good stock of soap in here, and by then we'll need more upstairs. Toilet paper wise, we've got 2 big things of the Costco paper, and then we have one here that was just taken apart to fit on the shelves. We've got 1 thing of napkins left, so definitely when I'm in here I see holes. Thank you so much, friends, for hanging out with me and getting these freezers and some of the refrigerators labeled and getting the whiteboards on there and doing a general grocery store in my basement update and little chatty time. As always, thanks for watching, and I will chat with you down in those comments below. And thanks again to Kiwico for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to click the first link in the description below for 50% off your first month of Kiwico. Go to kiwico.com/Jamerrill and use code Jamerrill.